What up guys, Greedy here. It's part 2 on how to Gunlance, showing you the tripods and runes of my build and explaining why and how to use them. Sorry for the delay cause I wanted to make this thorough and consistent from part 1 of my Gunlancer guide. So in part 1 of the guide, I left out the skill tripods because I wanted you to tailor them to your needs according to your playstyle, but I realized that there are still a lot of new players who don't know what the standard tripods are or what even their playstyles are. For those that are interested or might fall into this category, I'll go through each skill that I use as well as the tripods on them, and the reasoning for picking them. If you haven't seen part 1 of the guide yet, and you're interested in making a Warlord, please go and watch that one first. Link is in the description just for you. I hope this gives a good starting point to my Warlord Gunlancers out there, aspiring to be backbreaking behemoth tanks, just smashing bosses in half. And although this build's worked for me so well to the point I'm always hitting MVP, I hope you can still experiment with other tripods or even skills that work out better for your playstyle. This is a factor that people often overlook when talking about builds. I'll make a video later on how to actually make a good build in Lost Ark on any class so you can bust open assholes like a chili fair. So jumping right into it, we got Burst Cannon with tripods 1, 3, 2. First tripod penetration gives the most damage on bosses as per my testing in the Trigian testing mode. Numbers wise, the penetration tripod seems lower than high bomb, but ignoring defense seems to do much more damage, at least on bosses. Second tripod, overcharge, will make burst cannon charge 2 bars and inflict 60% more damage at level 1. Barrage on the third tripod adds 4 more shots, increasing your burst cannon damage by 50% at level 1. This is the only red skill I would use because it does so much raw damage by itself. Any other red skill in my opinion is a waste of skill points. Blue is what we do here.
I got 4 fingers up with the middle intertwined. I got 16 bars, so let me spit another line. Don't tell me that you ain't learned nothing from the rest. With the color rags on the shoulders and the dance on the chest. Afro pits, bald heads and chains.
Even the counter spear red skill isn't needed if you can utilize your shield and movement skills properly. I see a lot of blue lords taking it because it is very convenient and safe, but at the cost of damage. If you're having trouble moving out of the way of big damage, I would take the counter shield instead of burst cannon, but just know you'll be losing out on a lot of DPS. Second, we have shield thrust, your bread and butter, the sole initiator after warrior scream. Tripods are 1, 3, 2. First tripod gives armor destruction, which reduces an enemy's defense by 12% for 8 seconds. Considering that the cooldown on this skill is 9 seconds, and maybe less with cooldown reduction jewels, you can keep this up the whole time, giving your whole party a big damage boost. This is my kind of support. The faster a boss dies, the less bullshit mechanics you have to put up with. In my opinion, this is the best kind of support a DPS can give. Second tripod is weakness. Give 60% more damage to boss monsters. Third tripod makes every hit trigger twice, doing 20% and 60% more damage respectively. Next is bash, with tripods 1, 1. I just keep armor destruction on tripod 1, although it may be redundant. There are many times when I can only hit with a shield thrust or a bash. For example, let's say you miss with your shield thrust, so you didn't apply the armor debuff with that. You have bash as a backup to keep up 12% debuff, which is pretty big. And as much as I don't want to admit it, there will be times that we miss with these moves, and having one to back up the other is a surefire way to keep the debuff up. Second tripod is the important one, ready to attack. It increases your attack power by 25% for 5 seconds. In that window, you want to use your big moves such as leap attack, which uses tripods 1, 2, 1. Tripod 1, direct blow, is a raw 15% damage increase for a direct hit. Tripod 2, current zone, leaves an electric AoE on the ground that ticks for 8% damage for 5 seconds. That's 40% extra damage if the boss stands in it for the full duration, but wait, there's more. With tripod 3, continuous jump, you get to jump 2 times, which leaves behind a lightning AoE each time. And next is Guardian Thunder, your hardest hitting skill with tripods 3, 2, 1. First tripod shoots down another lightning bolt that does almost as much damage as your original attack. The lightning bolt falls somewhere in the vicinity of where you casted Guardian Thunder. Sometimes it might not hit the boss, but most of the times it will if you're hugging the boss real tight when you cast it. Remember to be as close to the boss as possible when casting Guardian Thunder for this reason. Second tripod, a tough blow. increase 25% damage, and third tripod, Cross Thunder, for 50% more damage. Alright, burning through these like a pyro with chlamydia. Rust Shield, tripods 332. First tripod gives flat damage, increase of 15%. Second tripod makes you travel faster, which I prefer in order to avoid big damage or get to the boss faster. Third tripod gives more damage but with a caveat. Every time you hit the enemy with the Rust Shield, the damage increases by 20% for a total of 140% maximum. You want to try to get all your hits in with this skill to maximize damage aside from using it as a movement skill. You won't get all the hits in every time, but it's good to know and aim for regardless. Warrior Scream with tripods 131. First tripod is Quick Preparation. It decreases the cooldown time by 3 seconds. The more screams we do, the more shield we have. The more shield we have, the more face we can go and get more damage. Second tripod is Barrier. It'll make 30% of your health into a shield for 3 seconds. With this and your Warlord shield up, you can take a hit, not get knocked up or stifled, and use the Barrier shield when you get hit within that 3 seconds. This way you're saving your actual Warlord shield, which is a pretty useful little way to prolong your shield. Third tripod is Weakness Exposure. It gives 20% shield gauge, and the head attack and back attack of your party will be increased by 12% for 12 seconds. Shield Dash, tripods 2-2. I know, I have a third skill with armor destruction. I just want my debuff up at all times, especially when I'm putting in my big damage skills. If you think it's overkill, you can change the tripods around to your preference. I personally go with the extra damage tripod on Bash instead of the armor debuff if I were to switch. Considering our rotation from part 1 of the guide, we can still apply both debuff and buff with the shield thrust into Bash combo. Second tripod is Defensive Prep. All damage taken is reduced by 15% for 10 seconds. This is just in case a boss really hurts or when my shield is down. It's not an absolutely necessary tripod, so if you're lacking skill points, I take out from this skill first. This is a small bonus. It isn't in my build, but this is another standard build with support that uses Neregia's shield, so I'll just put it in here. This one has a lot of useful little tripods. For first tripod, you can go 2 or 3, which is mana cost reduction or quick preparation respectively. The second tripod, you can go any of these depending on your situation. For example, if a boss does big burst damage, you may want to choose 1, which increases the effect of the Neregia's defensive aura. For bosses that burn or poison you, you want to choose 2, which cleanses debuffs. For bosses that just do prolonged and steady damage, you may want to go with 3, which increases the duration of the aura. For third tripod, you want to go 2, which gives 30% HP as shield for 6 seconds. It's very useful, but if you have a good bard or holy knight and decent comrades who don't stand in fire, it's not necessary in my opinion. You can still take it, but redundantly so, I'll say that you'll lose out on DPS. If saving your homies is more of your thing, then take the shield. They will thank you. If saving time for your homies is your thing, by carrying big deeps on every run, then scratch this for a DPS skill instead. Either way, you're a winner, I guess. As for the red reflect move, it can be extremely useful in combat situations and supremely convenient, but the trade-off is DPS. I would highly suggest to get used to playing without it if you want maximum DPS. I've never used it in PvE and cleared all content without any problems. For those of you who've already gotten used to having this handy skill but want to do more deeps, I'd suggest getting rid of it ASAP. You'll feel a lot freer. Some wild shit. Okay, let's get into some runes. These are very much optional to your liking, but just in case anyone wants to know what I use, here we go. Burst Cannon, I use Gale, which increases skill speed. Continuous Rune is also a good pick for a chance of cooldown. Shield Thrust, I use Guardian, which gives 8% of your HP as shield while using the skill. Since this skill is on such a short cooldown, and since you're mostly smashing your way into oncoming damage, literally going face with this move, it's great to use this barrier shield instead of your Z shield while closing the distance. This will save you a lot of Z shield over the course of a fight, as you should be constantly using this move along with the barrier it creates. For Bash, I use Bleed Rune. Bleed ticks the highest off of this move, so it's a no-brainer. It used to be obscenely high before, and it got nerfed to the ground, but even now it's still pretty damn decent. In the future though, when Legendary Condemnation comes out on our server, I'll be experimenting with Condemnation and Judgment runes for Shield Thrust and this skill respectively. For Leap Attack and Guardian Thunder, I use Continuation Rune, which has chance to reduce cooldown by 12%. For Rush Shield, I use Bleed because I want to keep the debuff up on bosses as consistently as possible. For Warrior Scream, I use Fertility to increase the acquisition of the shield gauge. Shield Dash is another bleed rune to keep up the dots once again. This is not the end all be all. You guys should feel free to experiment with what works best for you too. There are multiple best in slots for each move depending on what you're going for. Since this build is innately an aggressive and high uptime build, continuation is always a great choice. But even then, if you find something that works better for you, then you should use that. I love to see what builds you guys come up with or modify with mine. Post them in the comments, and as always, like and subscribe for more content like this. See ya.